Reed Campbell, Tom Hagelin,
Here.
Sue Kern,
Here.
Ruth Nelson,
Here.
Bob Nystrom,
Here.
5 of the 6 present.
Thank you. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have 4 amendments to our district recognition this evening that's been added, and 1 language change to our action item number 5, a slight language change. Beyond that, the agenda is what was presented earlier.
I'll move approval of the agenda as amended.
Second.
We have a motion by Director Nelson, second by Director Nystrom. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. So we'll move right into district recognition.
All right, thank you. As you can tell by the agenda and all the amendments tonight, there are exciting things going on at Brainerd Public Schools right now. So I'll try to get through this as quickly as I can, but also giving all the appropriate recognition that we want to give to our many students and staff who are just doing outstanding things for the district. So I begin tonight, congratulations to Brandon Neifert and Lauren Kallenberg for earning all state honors at the Minnesota State High School League State Alpine Ski Tournament at Giants Ridge, which was held on February 12th, 2020. Congratulations to the Brainerd High School a cappella choir for being selected to perform at the Minnesota Music Educators Association Midwinter Clinic at Central Lutheran Church in Minneapolis on February 14th. Congratulations to Nisswa Elementary School and Forest View Middle School, future problem solvers, for all the teams and individuals finishing with ribbons and earning berths to the state problem solving competition, which will be held on March 28th, 2020 in St. Cloud. Competitors are Callista Anderson, Ava Capel, Presley Glenn, Abby Isaacson, and Violet Anderson. Congratulations to all of them. Congratulations also to the Warrior Varsity Dance Team for finishing 4th at the Minnesota State High School League High Kick Competition and 5th in Jazz Funk. This is the first time in Brainerd history that we have made the finals in both dances on the same weekend. Congratulations to our girls for a job very well done. Congratulations also to Izzy Olson and Brenna Deason for qualifying for the gymnastics state tournament. Olson finished 3rd in the all-around, and Deason finished 5th on the vault and 2nd in the floor routine. The state tournament is at the Roy Wilkin Auditorium on February 21st and 22nd, 2020. Deason finished 22nd in the vault, and Olson finished 20th in the all-around, and both received all-state honors. Congratulations to Hannah Modis, Forest View Middle School 8th grader, for winning the Brainerd Spelling Bee after 17 rounds. She will represent Brainerd at the Regional Spelling Bee hosted at Sourcewell in Staples on March 25th. The winner of the competition will advance to the Scripps National Spelling Bee in Washington, D.C. Congratulations also to the Forest View Middle School STEM Club and their leaders for being awarded a $5,000 grant for their program from the Greater Twin Cities Honda dealers. And if you remember last year, Mills Auto and the Honda Association gave a $5,000 grant to the school district for simulators for driver's education. And this year they wanted to put that money towards STEM education because they're so pleased with all of the exciting accomplishments and the work that's being done in STEM education from birth all the way through grade 12. So congratulations and thank you to them for that. Congratulations also to the Warrior Wrestlers, Isaiah Gilson, Cade Barrett, and Atlee Danielson for qualifying for the state wrestling tournament, which will be held February 27th and 28th, 2020 at the Xcel Energy Center. So we'll cheer them on this weekend. And also, congratulations to the Warrior Swimmers, Tristan Dawson, Parker Tate, Cade Rosenwald, Dylan Paulson, Mason Keepers, and Connor Lund for qualifying for the boys swimming state tournament. The swimming state tournament will also be this weekend at the Gene K. Freeman Aquatic Center at the University of Minnesota. Congratulations to our many swimmers on that accomplishment. And also congratulations to Coach John Zemke for receiving Section Coach of the Year, and to Carl Shermer for the Assistant Section Coach of the Year. So congratulations to many, many students and staff on a job very well done in the winter sports. So
Fantastic, busy time of the year.
yeah, it is.
It's great.
Yeah.
Wonderful, thank you. Okay, now's our time for public input. If there's anyone in the audience that would like to address the board, please come forward, state your name.
Microphone, no microphone?
Yeah, you go ahead and sit down right here and use a microphone. I think the one on the table
Okay, thank you.
should work. And we do limit to a couple, 3 minutes.
Yeah, that's fine. My name's Tim Fredrickson. Belong here in the district. I have children, a daughter at Lowell and 3 boys up in Nisswa. I'm also a board member of the Lakes Area Youth Soccer Association, and my children play in BBA basketball, and we've also been with the BYAA. It's my understanding that there's conversation ongoing about facilities use with the youth athletic associations and maybe some fees to come forward. I don't know any of the details of any of that, and that's fine at this time. We have, both as a family and as a director with FLASA, we already have concerns about the cost of youth sports here in the district. Since we don't have a lot of district activity or youth athletic activity up to 7th grade, we've had all these associations step in and fill that void, whether that's basketball, football, there's a number of them, as you're aware. I think it's appropriate that we share in those costs, certainly. Speaking from soccer specifically, if we're incurring additional cost to the district for maintenance of fields or painting lines, well, then we should certainly pay for some of that. That's a conversation to be had. As far as the use of the facilities, if we aren't incurring a lot of additional cost, that gets to be harder to swallow. I'm sure somebody's done the math somewhere along the way about how many shots can be shot into a soccer net before the life of that net's no good anymore and whatever. That's beyond me. The harder part, of course, is to put the dollar value on, those lessons we start to teach our youth young. Teamwork, resiliency, how to win and lose graciously, all those things that go with it. And so it is very important to me, certainly, my family. And on behalf of LASA, I would like to have the opportunity or extend the concern formally. As that proposal comes forward, if there's an opportunity for us to have some input in it, we'd sure like to have that. So, thank you.
Great, thank you, Tim.
Thank you.
And I would encourage you, if you haven't already, to visit with Charlie Campbell. But
We'll do
please,
so.
please,
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Great, thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to address the board? Please come forward.
Actually, prepared a little handout, informational handout, if that's all right. So hi, my name is Darren Mayers, and I'm the Vice President of the Brainerd Basketball Association. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to discuss a concern that was brought to our attention. The Brainerd Basketball Association is a community-based volunteer organization with the objective to foster and develop competitive basketball players in the Brainerd Lakes area. Our association serves close to 200 students from 3rd to 8th grade in the Brainerd Public School System every year. In the past 5 years, the Brainerd Basketball Association has continued to grow and improve in our ability to support the athletes and the Brainerd Public School basketball programs. We have been able to donate roughly $15,000 to the school and have also paid over $30,000 in gym rental fees in the past 5 years. We also provide two $500 scholarships annually to graduating seniors from Brainerd High School. Lastly, with our funds, we offer registration scholarships to offset the registration fees, either in full or in part to families in the Brainerd Lakes area. In the past years, we have averaged roughly 5 families per year with that scholarship. It was brought to our attention that there is an upcoming proposal to increase the gym rental rates that will be applied to our association. Currently, we are proud of the fact that our registration costs are affordable. Our low-cost fees allow over 100 families to play travel basketball from November till March. With the potential fee increase, our concern is that we may have to increase our fees that may bring down our numbers and result in lower revenue and a decreased ability to support the Brainerd High School program. We understand the need for maintaining Brainerd School District's basketball facilities and would appreciate the opportunity to work with the school board and the Brainerd Community Education to negotiate an affordable rate to our members and associates. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So I would echo the same thing that I shared with Tim, and it sounds like maybe we'll have a presentation before long from Charlie, because I'm not aware of any,
From Corey Reynolds.
from Corey, of any of this, so that'd be great. Thank you. Anyone else? See no one else come forward, we will move into our first presentation. I think Sarah is going to talk to us about laptops.
Oh, okay.
Hello, good evening.
Hey, Sarah.
Sarah.
So,
Yes, this is what.
I am excited to bring forward our proposal for our certified staff laptops. It's hard to believe, 4 years has already gone by since we approved the original certified staff laptops. It's gone fast, but we are here. So I wanted to remind you of our process. This is what we had talked about beginning of the school year, kind of let you know that this was what we were moving into. And we've pretty much hit all of our dates right on time, if not earlier. We're really proud of this process that we've done. We pulled together quite a large committee of teachers and other staff members that were stakeholders. We started with what specs do we want in a device, what's important to us. We put together a survey that went out to all staff to figure out what their top concerns were with their laptops. Then we sent that out to our vendors, got their recommendations back. Our committee came in, there were 13 devices that they originally looked at that our vendors sent us. They narrowed it down to 3, okay? And these are the 3 that they sent us. On the top is our current device, which is the Toshiba Portage. They sent us the Microsoft Surface 2, the HP EliteBook, and the Toshiba Dynabook. We wanted, the teachers came back with touchscreen was very important for what we're doing in our classrooms now, along with the mobility of being able to move around with their device and connect wirelessly. And that's something, again, that we're proud of. We've worked very hard in the last 4 years to really implement that for our students. So these are the devices that they came back with within our price range and what we were looking for. We then took these 3 devices, the tech team did, and we went to every building. And we spent some time in every building with the devices out there. Teachers had a chance to come and play with them, look at them, ask questions, and then they all filled out a form from there to let us know what they thought about them. At the end of all of that, the Toshiba Dynabook really won out. There's a few main reasons why. Number one, it's the same thing that we have now, except for the upgraded version. So that really enticed a lot of people. They don't have to learn something new again, so they really felt comfortable with that. The other thing is it was really tight between the EliteBook and the Toshiba Dynabook, but the EliteBook is a flip, whereas the Dynabook, again, is a detachable. Our teachers who are really utilizing the right on the tablet and being able to move around and be close to their students really value that detachable laptop. So that's why we ended up, after weighing everything and taking all the feedback, with the Dynabook again. So interesting, though, that I wanted to show to you is actually on the on your left side there, we actually paid $950 for our current Toshibas that we have. And that was 4 years ago. It was a lower processor, an M3, less gigabyte RAM, things like that. But we paid $950 for them. If you look now, we're getting this for $920. And it's really interesting to me. I was a bit surprised that it came in so competitive because these devices are actually double the RAM and double the storage and everything. So we were really happy with how competitive Toshiba came after this project. You'll also notice last time we ordered a quantity of 550. This time we're ordering a quantity of 635 of the i5 version of it. And that was because once we started, the 550 originally that we did was just our certified teachers. And we quickly realized through the last process that more than just our certified teachers work with our students in these capacities. And so we ran out of devices by the end of the cycle. So this time, for instance, community education is involved, has given us their numbers, different things like that. So that's all in this. The other thing I wanted to point out is that we did identify over the last 4 years a need for some additional power for some of our laptops, specifically in our CTE program. So our CAD teachers have been using their Toshiba to be able to teach and move around and have that touchscreen capability, but they've also had to have a second device because the Toshiba couldn't run their CAD programs on it. So we're now able to, with this device, put that together so they don't have to have two different systems that they're trying to teach off of. So we are ordering a quantity of 40 with that i7 16 gigabyte, specifically for those users that have those programs that we have to download. So our CAD, our graphic design, our some of those types of programs. Okay. And the reason that we split that is you can see the cost difference. There's $150 savings for the i5 over the i7. Most people can use an i5 and wouldn't know really the difference. So here's your numbers. The winning bid came in from CDW. That is actually who we did our one-to-one high school bid with. They came in the lowest at that on that project as well. So it's a total cost of $627,000. We will be doing this over the 4 years again, doing a lease for 4 years. So you will see me again probably in 2 weeks with that lease schedule real quick for you to look at. Out of the general fund, we're looking at $151,000 a year. The awesome news is that's what we budgeted out of the tech budget. So we aren't looking at any extra funding from any other budget or anything. It is budgeted into what we have. So I'm very excited about that as well. This includes our freight charges. They're coming out to train our staff. So some of our staff really like to, even though it's the same device, they like to have that training and that sit down on that. So they're offering some of that for us. Also, our current Toshibas had a 3-year warranty. We now are getting the full 4-year warranty on it, which is a big deal too. So we're excited about that. Although we didn't have very much breakage or anything that went on with these, it's always nice to have that extra warranty. The other bonus is CDW is actually a Sourcewell contract. So as you know, that qualifies us for a 1% rebate for being in Region 5. So then that's not included in these numbers, but that is something that the district will also get from this purchase.
Would that be returned into the general fund, or?
Yeah, yep, that's what we just met about that the other day and how that's gonna work with those rebates and stuff, and that's what it's looking like.
Okay.
Because we have, several other things that we get because of Sourcewell contracts and stuff, so. Mhm. So, do you have any questions for me about any of this?
So the other ones we lease, so that those just go back.
They do, yep.
Okay.
And the nice thing about our educational leases, if you remember from the Chromebook, I kind of was able to explain this as well, is because companies know that they're going to be able to resell these devices at the end, we actually get, on our leases, we get a 0% or sometimes even a negative percent rate on it because they know that they're going to make money at the end for this. So that's why it makes a lot of sense for school districts to lease this equipment.
Sir, is there an option to consider to buy a certain amount of them at the
Yeah.
end of the lease?
There is, and that always is an option. So we would be able to purchase some of what we have currently out if we needed to as well. We did look at that, but with where the prices came in, it came in where we didn't necessarily need to do that with our current Toshibas. Where we're running into those, we have a lot of requests to purchase those from teachers and such because they've enjoyed them so much. And that's where we run into some of those issues with that's a whole nother process that we would have to do.
Yeah, I guess what I was thinking is, is there a couple different things. One is, rather than doing a 4-year purge, if you will, I wonder if down the road we should consider like 25% every year where we're bringing in new systems versus an all at once. But also wondering, for the less power users, not knowing what the purchase price is, but if it's a couple $100 for something or $100, are we potentially able to save money by maybe purchasing 50 or 100, and then we don't need so many new ones each year?
So one thing to keep in mind is the reason that we get these aggressive prices is because of the quantity that we have. So this particular device retails anywhere from about $1,300 to $1,500, and we're paying $920 for it. So that's one thing that if we did it over the years, because I'm actually looking at that for our Forest View refresh right now in our Chromebooks, and that's what I'm running into is that quantity threshold actually costs us more money to do that in the long run. So, so that's one thing that we run into. The other thing would be just the whole, how we phase them in, because it's the getting them all ready, getting them out, getting teachers trained on them. We want them all on the same devices so that they can work together on those devices. So that's another reason why we've chosen to do that 4-year refresh rather than stagger that. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, and that maybe makes sense, but I guess I'm still, would like us to at least consider looking at a purchase. So, I mean, I realize the more you buy, the lower the price. So let's buy as many as we can so there's no cost then, right? So, you know, I'm just thinking there's probably a couple hundred perhaps that aren't power users that a 4-year-old system, and I don't know what the lease buyback price would be. But financially, you know, maybe instead of 150, it's 125,000 a year. Then we can put 25,000 into other IT needs.
So continuing to use those for another year.
Perhaps.
I can look into that for the future. Like I said, I'm looking into that with the Chromebooks for Forest View right now anyway, so I should have a better handle on
Yeah.
how that all
Yeah,
looks.
I mean, you know, I understand we're gonna wanna replace for power users perhaps every 4 years, but I'm gonna venture to say we don't have a lot of power users, you know, certainly when you get into the CAD and those kind of things, but if it's more,
So we wouldn't want to push these longer than 4 years. I understand your question a little bit more now. Part of it is because, remember that our old ones were an M3, now we're at an i5. That's a significant difference in the, in how it runs, okay? The other thing is that our users, even our users who aren't power users that use them every day, all the time, or I mean, every hour, they are using it all day long though. So it's still on and running, and it's, you know, going to meetings, and it's going home with them and things like that. So our users use them, I think, a lot more than people realize. And so it puts a lot of pressure on those after 4 years. Those machines are pretty done. So we're running into some issues with our current Toshibas with not staying charged and things like that, just because we use them so much. So it would be tough to make those last longer than 4 years. To answer your question. We can chat more about that too. Any other questions on this right now?
any other questions? Okay, thanks, Sarah.
So we will be,
Good job.
yep, thank you. So we'll be asking for your approval on this purchase a little bit later then. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next we'll move into a Tech Warriors at BHS presentation. Hello.
Hello. My name is Christina Lengren, and I'm working as a tech integrationist at the high school. And I'm just here really in celebration and recognition of our Tech Warrior team at the high school. As you know, we've moved to the one-to-one Chromebooks this year at the high school. And they've really become part of the fabric of what we do. And these students really help make things go smoothly and efficiently for both students and teachers. So I just wanted to take a look at how they are actually being used. We have teachers doing flipped lessons, so they're recording themselves and allowing students access to those videos through Google Classroom, so they can go back on their own time and review the lesson and take notes if they need to. Students are working collaboratively on documents and slide decks and spreadsheets, especially in some of the AP courses. Teachers are communicating with their students through Classroom. We've got students using the text-to-speech capabilities for reading and assignments. One teacher actually, she was absent, and she did a Google hangout with her students with the sub in the room so they could continue with the lab that they were doing. Some teachers do breakout experiences, so they really are being utilized on a regular basis and what we do at the high school. And so our students then really help to make this happen. So as you know, students sometimes are maybe not real gentle with some of their things. And so we have had a few Chromebooks coming in and out of the media center. And really, we have a seamless process where students will bring in their device. We get it checked in. They have a loaner, which isn't quite to the same level as their individual Chromebook, but doesn't have the touchscreen and things of that nature. It goes to our Tech Warrior team, and they fix it. And so our Tech Warrior team meets twice a week during our win time. Sean Tolfson, our technician at the high school, manages the group, and they really work together as a team. They do problem solving. They've looked at some new scenarios that have popped up, and they've worked together on trying how to fix that. And they really just work together as a team really well. The main thing that they help us with is repairing the Chromebooks. So we have a list of all the different repairs that have come in through the media center with damages to the Chromebooks. And the students typically can do a repair in 30 minutes or less. So we get it in, we get it checked in, students do the problem solving, they fix it, it's out, we get it back to the students. So most of our students will have their own Chromebook back within the same day, as long as we have the parts. And so they really work efficiently with that. They also help with some of the help desk tickets. So even on the teacher side of things, during the win time, if we have some connection issues or teachers need help connecting to their display, or there's just some general technology questions that students may have in a classroom, this team of students will also go in and support teachers and students in that capacity as well. And really, for a savings, it saves time. You know, we don't have to send it out somewhere and have an outside person fix it, wait for it to come back. And then it also saves money because we don't have to pay for the repairs. And so just really to say thank you to those students and thank you to Sean for creating a safe environment for those students to really flourish in. And that's all I have to say. So any questions?
How many Tech Warriors are there?
It varies, so the win time, they can sign up, and I would say anywhere from 10 to 20 students, depending on the day. So it's offered both days of the week, but depending if they have other things that they need to attend to during that time, not all those students are there both days. And then we also have 2 students that are tech aides during 5th and 7th hour, so they're there every day for that aiding group.
How long has this program been in place?
They started last year. They did have a group that worked at the high school, and then Forest View also had a Tech Warrior team. And when we have quite a significant group of 9th graders that I think were developing their skills at Forest View, so a credit to the Forest View team as well. And they're really just excited. They ordered their tools. They have different types of tools. They really like to try and problem solve, some of these unique scenarios. And so it's really exciting. So we're hoping to grow it as we move forward. And we have like I said, that big group of 9th graders that I think we can develop as they go through 9-12.
Great program.
Yeah. Great opportunity, too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. All right, up next, we will have a presentation on testing procedure. Tim's down for 2 of these, but he's not coming up.
Yeah, he's sitting back there, yeah.
Why isn't Tim coming up?
I told him he didn't have to.
Oh,
Welcome, Sue.
Thank you. Okay, let's start here. Oh, there we go. Okay. Today I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about the state of accountability testing in Brainerd. It's coming into MCA testing time, and so this is getting to be a busy time of the year for me, and so I just wanted to give you an update. This all started way back when No Child Left Behind came into legislation in 2002. It's a federal requirement that we had to do assessments for math, reading, and science for students in our state. It has now transitioned out of No Child Left Behind into Every Student Succeeds Act, or ESSA, which requires math, reading, and science assessments for all students. And Minnesota Comprehensive Assessments, or the MCAs, are the assessment that we use. This is a criterion referenced assessment, which is basically assessing kids against mastery of the Minnesota academic standards. So under ESSA, we also have to assess all of our English learners, grades K-12, on English language proficiency. And so those assessments are done by the Access for ELL testing. Minnesota requires us to post a testing calendar before the first day of school. It has to be comprehensive in showing all of our sites, the different tests that we offer, why we do them, how long it takes, and what we use the information for. Access testing is currently underway. That started about 2 weeks ago. The window closes for that testing on March 20th. And MCA testing in Brainerd will start on April 1st, although the window for the state opens in March. Will begin on April 1st, and it will be done by May 1st. One of the pieces that a lot of folks aren't possibly familiar with is that there is statute that allows for aid money to come to districts based upon performance in literacy on the 3rd grade MCA. So it is a formula that's based upon a school's proficiency levels on the MCAs in reading. It's $530 per student who meet or exceed expectations on that assessment. It's averaged over 3 years, and there's different formulas in terms of exactly how they calculate it, but it is based upon proficiency. Then there is also growth aid that's calculated, and that's based upon how many students meet average or high growth on the reading test in 4th grade. So it's the transition from 3rd to 4th grade, and that's also $530 per kid. So there is money associated with performance on this assessment. So we take this test seriously. There's also a high school, college, and career readiness component. We are required to offer 11th and 12th graders an opportunity to participate in a national college entrance exam during the school. So on March 24th this year, the high school will be offering the ACT to any 11th grader or 12th grader who did not participate as an 11th grader that is interested in taking the assessment. Also, built into the MCAs in 10th and 11th grade, our MinSCU system of colleges have developed a benchmark of a score associated with either 10th grade reading or 11th grade math. If a student achieves that benchmark, then they don't have to take the AccuPlacer assessment in that content area, and they will not be required to take a remedial course in college. So they get placed directly into an appropriate math or reading composition course. So it saves some money that they don't have to take a remedial course that they don't get credit for. And finally, what do we do with them all? We get lots of assessment results at the end of the year. The MCAs are designed as a system check. We use it as an overall assessment of our curriculum and our teaching of the standards to our students. It provides us with a consistent measure because it's a large-scale test. We test all 3rd through 8th grade and 10th grade students in reading, 3rd through 8th grade and 11th grade students for math, and then science is 5th grade, 8th grade, and high school. So we get a big picture. Lots of kids participate. And for that, I am supremely appreciative of our community for supporting this assessment and having the kids participate, because it gives us a very valid picture of what our students can do and how we're doing within this district. And we take all of that information, and I generate a whole bunch of charts and a whole bunch of presentations, and it comes up at our continuous improvement retreat in August. It's one of the pieces, it's not the only piece, but it is a pretty large chunk of the information we share at that time for teachers. So that's the state of assessment this year. Any questions?
Sue, on the reading proficiency aid, what percentage of our students will be above that benchmark where we qualify for the financial aid?
We are in 3rd grade, we are typically, I want to say off the top of my head, over 65% proficient. It is by building, so we have some higher than that, so it's every year is calculated, but it is an average over 3 years.
How does that compare to other school districts?
We are above the state average. There are districts that are going to perform higher, and there's districts that perform lower. So we're kind of right in the middle.
Okay.
But that $530 is just for each, it's a small percentage of our total students. It's just for those students.
Correct. It's only in third grade.
It's only for those
just
students
for
in third
third grade population. It's only based upon the reading assessment.
Okay.
So
And then what are those funds dedicated to that you received?
I actually talked to Marcy. It comes in the general fund, and I asked her to pull that information. She has access to the actual real numbers,
Oh, okay.
so she can address that later,
Okay.
if that's okay.
Thanks, sir.
So, anything else?
Great, thank you. Any other questions? All right,
Okay,
thank you.
great, thanks.
Next up will be a presentation for our American Indian Parent Advisory Committee. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You can bring everyone up. Plenty of chairs.
How many do you need?
Yeah.
It's just us, yeah.
Oh,
Just two. Whole bunches of chairs. Got a low rider chair.
Buju, Nagana Benese Kwe Nindijnakas, Magazine Ndode, Mesquagame Vizaga Iganing Nandonjaba. Hello, my name is Susan Bolio. I am the chair of the American Indian Parent Advisory Committee.
And Buju, Niju Gaba Wikwe, Nindigu Ojibwemung, Govinda Budro, Nindijna Ka Jaganashemung, Gawa Babi Ganikuk, Nindunjaba, Migazine Nindu Dame. So I'm Govinda Budro, and I am a member of the parent committee. I'm a volunteer, and also a taxpayer and a homeowner in this district.
Thank you.
So to start things in a good way, we would like to offer you a sema. This offering is made anytime we're doing something that is of importance. Tonight, this offering has been made by Indigenous families from across the district, asking that we each remain open to hear the messages, perspectives, and voices that will be presented tonight and throughout this next year. Our interest is not only to help the Indigenous students in this district, but all students throughout the district. So, we have 7 gifts of cloth.
So if we can have the children come on up. So we'll start.
So miigwech for expanding staffing in Indian education. Having another part-time position provides more opportunities and direct advocacy for connection for families, children, and staff in District 181.
Just wait, Becca. Yep, you go ahead. It was not an orchestrated event. It's just real, it's just real, right?
Very good.
So we're ready for the next one? Miigwech to the district for supporting Aaron Carlsgaard's passion and leadership in partnering with the parent committee and Indian education staff to begin the efforts to review, revise, and expand curriculum to provide integration of historical and contemporary Indigenous wisdom and contributions. We appreciate this work has been done in partnership with the Indigenous families in this district.
Miigwech for supporting our 6th grade social studies teachers with substitutes and travel funds to get training in the Dakota Homelands curriculum.
Miigwech for promoting the district's powwow at Central Lakes College. We recognize and value the presence of administrators, teachers, school board, families, and students in the district during the powwow.
Miigwech for the shift to authentic partnership with the Native American Parent Committee. We are now at a point that we have true committee representation with bylaws and actionable support.
Miigwech for the space to allow Indian education to provide culturally relevant and reflective learning opportunities such as the winter camp this last month. We also acknowledge that the Native Skywatcher resources will now be available for educating all of our district's children.
And for the last one, miigwech for providing support for teacher in-service training in the district around race, equity, and the achievement gap, culturally relevant learning, and training on implicit bias. Miigwech.
Where we are in the district is much like the cloth you have before you. We, as the parent committee, envision a fully assembled quilt that is cared for by the district, like the quilts we have behind us, right? Each square in that quilt would represent an essential component to the district's responsibility to Indigenous families and children in upholding federal and state obligations and meeting, quote, the unique educational and culturally related academic needs of American Indian students, end quote, to ensure equal educational opportunity to every individual. In acknowledging the level of progress the district has made, we recognize that there is much further to go to make this vision of a completed and well-maintained quilt a reality. To assess our district's progress, the parent committee used the Office of Indian Education District and School Self-Assessment for implementing Indian education. A copy of this rubric is available in your packets. Based on the parent committee's assessment using this rubric, the committee has unanimously voted that the district is non-concurrent. A vote of non-concurrence is not about progress the district makes. It's whether the district is in compliance with the statutes and meeting the needs of Indigenous students. The parent committee will continue to use this rubric as a tool for assessing the district's progress in achieving and maintaining concurrence in the years to come.
Based on the rubric discussions, the parent committee has proposed several recommendations to begin our journey towards concurrence with things that we believe can be accomplished over the next school year.
So our first recommendation is for data for context in the achievement gap. In making this decision of non-concurrence, the committee was supported in viewing the data that was available in the Brainerd School District Minnesota report card. This data shows a consistent achievement gap in terms of MCA assessments between our total school population and our Native youth in the district. The committee was advised that we should be careful about how we should choose to look at the data. It was emphasized to us that Indigenous students of the district were performing higher than the average of Native students in the whole state, and that their progress was being made in increasing scores. This advisement is respectfully noted, but the district can also benefit from further understanding. Our Native children are educated in this district alongside others and are not experiencing the same achievement. This is worth investigating and understanding. To understand the causes behind an achievement gap, it is essential that data be disaggregated and interpreted with the most equitable comprehension. Some of the concerns that come up in our district is determining that we have the right count of Native students. Student numbers are hidden in the 2 or more races category and in various groups of data sets. This is a concern across the state, but many districts are finding ways to have more comprehensive data to allow proper understanding to guide decision-making and support what needs to be considered. There is a section of the rubric, which is actually section 6, that is dedicated to data-based decision-making. To be considered fully implemented, the district would have to have ways to monitor American Indian student satisfaction rates, special education placement, dropout rates, discipline rates, attendance rates, and graduation rates. Most of these require us to have data that we can disaggregate and view on a yearly basis to be able to utilize the information to create change. Currently, our understanding is that many of these discussions are unable to occur due to minoritizing, which is the opposite of prioritizing, data, and insufficient understanding of how to equitably pull and interpret small data sets to create meaningful change. Lastly, we are left with more questions than answers when it relates to the very real achievement gap. Our children are still sitting in the same classrooms, but are having different results in achievement. We are asking the district to develop regular, comprehensive analysis of the data as it relates to Native American children in the district. Also, that once this data is analyzed through an equity lens, that it is used to close the achievement gap and address other issues that arise to the surface or surrounding this data. Now, last year, the parent committee brought recommendations and concerns surrounding discipline rates and special education rates. The school board responded with this statement. While the district recognizes the real and significant problems facing American Indian students in regards to overrepresentation in special education programs and disciplinary action both nationally and statewide, a review of district demographic data does not indicate significantly disproportionate special education placement or disciplinary actions relative to the whole district data. Please see the document, and there was a document attached. Several concerns rose out of this data used to make this determination. I could go into lengthy detail as to why the data set was not appropriate source to determine this conclusion, but essentially this chart does not align to the statement, and the committee recommends that the district works with the Minnesota Department of Education to create standardized methods to determine racial proportionality in discipline and special education rates. So a summary of just the data recommendations is that the district should create methods to provide accurate student data counts for disaggregation. The district should disaggregate by race, student satisfaction rates, special education placement, dropout rates, disciplinary rates, attendance rates, and graduation rates at least yearly, and reflect on the impact of these rates on the population. The district should consult with a disciplinary incident report specialist at the Department of Education to develop accurate methods for considering racial proportions in discipline. And the district, lastly, should consult with special education specialists that work with disproportionality at Minnesota Department of Education on how to accurately figure racial proportionality in special education.
So the second recommendation is around curriculum. Again, we're referencing the rubric. So in the rubric, under 4A is culture, American Indian Parent Advisory Committee, and number 18, to have that be fully implemented per the Minnesota statute 124D.78. The American Indian Education Parent Advisory Committee must develop its recommendations in consultation with the Curriculum Advisory Committee required by section 120D, period dot 11, subdivision 3. This committee must afford parents the necessary information and the opportunity effectively to express their views concerning all aspects of American Indian education and the educational needs of the American Indian children enrolled in the school or program. The school board or American Indian school must ensure that programs are planned, operated, and evaluated with the involvement of and in consultation with parents of students served by the programs. So again, that's directly from the rubric. To fully implement this statute, we have identified the following recommendations around curriculum. So the first one is around DAC, the District Advisory Committee, and we would like to have a position filled and then have a standing American Indian Parent Advisory Committee representative to serve on DAC. 2, provide bias vulnerability training for all current DAC members, as well as ongoing training to onboard new DAC members when they join. We're also requesting information on how DAC is structured, how committee members are chosen, and how meaningful consultation with the American Indian Parent Advisory Committee can occur. The second piece around curriculum is to continue expansion of current curriculum work that has begun in K4 with Aaron Karlgaard and expand that into grades 5 through 12. So although some really important work has begun in curriculum review and revisions with Mrs. Karlgaard's leadership, and by the way, she has been fantastic to work with, there's much more work like this that needs to occur to ensure these changes occur across the district in every grade level and every subject area. In the rubric, again, section 5, page 13, under student learning, there is curriculum and instruction. And when this is fully implemented, the indicators would look like, let's see. So there are several indicators, and I'm not going to read them all, but I'm going to just reference them. So 23 is current grade appropriate American Indian materials and content. 24 is review process for cultural relevance, accuracy, and absence of bias in American Indian curricula. 25 is American Indian curriculum alignment and implementation fidelity, and 26 is American Indian content integration into curriculum and instruction across all grades and subjects. So again, it aligns really well with what we're recommending. And we do recognize that this piece is not going to happen in a year, in one calendar year, but we'd like to see a plan for how the district will achieve this curriculum review and expansion in the near future with timelines, as well as looking at what those resources would be.
So before you go on, you've referenced a rubric in a document. Is there something we're supposed to have that,
Because we don't have it. We don't have
Yeah,
it.
we don't have it.
There should have been a rubric that was sent with your packet. It's pretty lengthy. It would be hard to miss.
okay.
Did it? There's 3 sheets.
Okay, well, yeah, maybe we'll have to get it afterwards and
Yeah, so we've been referencing this a lot, and you've kind of been going, good thing we put a lot of quotes in here.
So if you saw us talking, it's because we were all wondering
Yeah,
where it was.
yeah,
So,
so
yeah.
we were under
Well, and
the-
we appreciate
Yes.
that you explain that too, because there can be a lot of, assumptions made about what's being talked about, so we
we'll look
appreciate
forward to
that.
receiving that, but continue on.
Yeah, and it
Thank you.
was sent, I don't know how that
Okay, yeah,
process
but
works,
just so
because
you're
again,
aware
we're
that-
volunteers
yeah,
and
we-
parents.
We,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So we will continue forward, in the absence of the rubric, but
Yeah.
it will be
Okay, great,
given to you, and it's because there's actually a recommendation related to that as well.
sure.
So the third recommendation is professional development for staff. We recognize and appreciate the support the district has provided this year for teacher in-service training around race, equity, and achievement gap, and culturally relevant learning with Anton Troyer, and the implicit bias training with Sourcewell. Yet this too is an area of opportunity and growth for the district to reach full implementation per the rubric. Under the section 3B, good thing we quoted this, titled Educator Effectiveness, Collaboration, Communication, and Professional Development, there are several indicators for consideration this year, including number 13, which is staff awareness of policies or practices that impact American Indian student performance and attendance. 14, formal support for tribal policies or cultural practices. And 16, American Indian cultural training for staff. Once again, the rubric will provide what full implementation of these indicators would look like.
And the last recommendation, as Govinda alluded to, is around the assessment itself. So our recommendation is that the district completes the MDE self-assessment rubric, and then meet to review the district and the assessment that our parent committee did, to look at the scores and then discuss ways that we can collaborate in order to improve the scores across the district. So let's see. So our recommendation is for the district to spend some time with the rubric. Again, it is pretty lengthy, and it has, what not meeting these things at all looks like versus what full implementation for each of the sections looks like. So really getting to know the rubric, the indicators, what full implementation looks like, as well as take time to complete the self-assessment. And then once the district has done that, we really welcome a sit-down and discussion with the American Indian Parent Advisory Committee on the scoring that the district gave, and then the scoring that we gave in the rubric, and how we can come together to better meet the needs of not just our American Indian students, but really when these are met across the district, all students in the district benefit.
So in closing, you can't see the rubric, but there is much work to be done. It's a very thick thing that also quotes statutes that are related to this work. So there's a lot of work to be done, and it's a heavy load as a volunteer American Indian Parent Advisory Committee with 2 part-time American Indian education staff to shoulder the burden of this alone. For true equity in any organization to be achieved, it must be engaged at every level with every individual. To answer the question of who is responsible for this change, we all are responsible to engage. Therefore, we are asking the school district to make a wholehearted commitment for district-wide support of this work, which includes the school board, administration, teachers, paras, and all support staff throughout the district. As the old adage goes, many hands make light work. This is the only way that this quilt will become a reality.
Miguel.
Oh, very good, thank you.
Questions?
Yeah, please.
Do you have any examples of school districts that have really implemented these that we could talk to possibly?
So we have quite a few examples, but they're in various areas implemented these. We've given you like a lot of things.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Who's been most successful at it?
Well, there are, I can, probably in our conversations after you guys go through the rubric,
Oh, okay.
we can talk specifically about districts that have been able to solve data issues. MDE is a very good support for figuring out how to do that portion of it, to discover like what is it that's creating an achievement gap, so that we can have real conversations, because just to note it is not enough. We have to figure out why and then try to resolve that. And then there's districts that do really well in terms of curriculum. I know that St. Paul School District has created across all levels, they have learning trunks, and they've aligned all of their standards to topics that can be discussed, and we're starting that work. But we're just in the beginning of that, and they have like websites full of it.
Okay.
So there's different districts that maybe shine in different areas.
Okay.
That would be our best
Yeah.
to consult with.
With our many committees, does anybody serve on this committee by chance, District Advisory?
Parent Advisory Committee,
Yes.
you mean? Yeah, I'm a parent, so I'm on the committee.
Not as a school board member? or-
No, not as a, before I got elected to school board, I was once the chair of that committee, but I don't serve officially as at least at this point, as a,
Okay,
I think, right?
okay.
But I
You're on
attended as a
district
parent.
advisory committee though, right?
Yep.
Yeah, you and Ruth, right?
Ruth and I, yeah.
Okay. So it'd be, helpful for us to get the information, and I wonder if we can't do a follow-up discussion sometime in the next 90 days, but I would also perhaps encourage that, I know it's on an annual, it's mandatory, I think, that you need to present, and we have to move forward, but to wait a whole year to find out that we're non-conformance, it'd be nice to see maybe mid-year to see how we're progressing, and so we can be realistic on those
Yeah,
areas
as-
that we can work towards.
And as far as non-compliance goes, is that, we weren't compliant last year either, and we've done a lot of work. So it doesn't seem to me like it's something that we can fix in a year to be compliant. Is that true?
I would say that that's probably true, because progress does not meet concurrence, right? It really is that we could go through a rubric like that and say that every statute is being complied with, and that every practice is being done. And I can tell you that there was not an area that we could say fully implemented, although we're bridging into areas that we can say we're actually doing something about now.
So I think it'd be helpful then to look at those items, a really good point,
Yeah.
Ruth, and to say, well, here it's a 3-year plan, 5-year plan, whatever it
Yes.
might be, but then to get buy-in on the committee which I'm assuming has district leadership, because they're the ones that are gonna have to really carry this out. And so that we could see each item that's, whatever that length of timing is.
Yeah.
And our recommendation also is that this should align well with the work of the district as it is. It should not be necessarily something that's so far out of line. We just listened to presentations tonight related to the Minnesota Comprehensive Assessment and how it gets disaggregated. So just figuring
Yeah,
out how to align this work to the work the district's already doing will make this work go a lot smoother and quicker. Absolutely. Any other questions for us?
That was a very comprehensive report.
Thank you for all, you did.
Oh,
Yeah.
man, that was excellent.
Yeah. Thank you for all the work you do.
Yeah.
in that, as a volunteer too, that's a,
Thank you.
yeah.
Anyway.
It's a lot of late nights, right?
Yes.
Well, thank you, and thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you
very much.
Are we able to keep these then?
Yes,
Yes.
yes, those are
Thank
for
you.
you to
That's
keep, yes.
Beautiful, thank you,
Yeah.
It's
wow.
beautiful.
For the red ASEMA tie, you can actually put
Is it
that
more than
out when it's
$5?
daytime hours and just put it near a tree in an area that just kind of people don't
So
go
untie it.
towards. Yeah,
Untie it.
Oh,
and put
wait,
it
I missed
by the
that.
tree.
yeah. because taking care of it in that way, that you can put that out during daytime hours, that offering that was given to you today for SEMA. And it was mainly, that's the way that we culturally typically start something when it's important to us. So,
Thank you.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Okay, next, we'll have a building update, projects update from our ICS team.
Got it. Start presentation, where is it?
We're ready when you are.
Okay, thank you. So here is our bond improvements update for Monday, February 24th, 2020. We're gonna review Wave 1 project updates, including reviewing NISWA. There's a PR number 7 roof framing on the existing building change event that we're gonna review and be looking for approval on. Also, Wave 2 project updates include a Lowell Elementary bid approval for the work scope number 11 mechanical. We're also going to have Lindsay Krins from Winston Smith Nolting do an update on our FF&E progress at the conclusion of the presentation. So Brainerd High School, Scott.
All right. Well, we just had the tour today. Thanks everybody
awesome.
for showing up and who went through that. It was a beautiful day to do so. So just very quick on the project update. Area 3 and Area 1 upper level slab on deck is complete. We're framing. We got sheetrock going up there. Most of the rough ends are in. Area 2 CMU elevator shaft was, as of Friday, 50% complete. But if you sat on the tour today through the scaffolding there, we're about 75% complete on that. Orchestra pit to begin today, and it did. You saw the pits for the columns that will complete the roof going over the auditorium. And Area 3 lower level on track for 4-3 turnover. Any questions?
Why is the elevator shaft built separately? Like, why doesn't the wall come to it first before you start building it?
Because of the access that you need to get all the brick in there.
Fire rating.
Yep, it's a self-supporting structure as well. It's kind of independent from the rest of the structure.
Great job on the tour. As far as guiding today, Scott, I thought you did a great job, so.
Well done.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Can't get over how much change has happened just since Ruth and I went through about 3 weeks ago. It's unbelievable how different it looks, so.
Changes daily.
It's amazing, so good work, yeah.
Thank you.
I heard something about donuts, but I was willing to roll with it after.
I heard that too, yeah.
All right, New Baxter Elementary is progressing real nicely. We're tracking right on schedule. Starting finishes are ready. Putting acoustical ceiling grid on the second floor classroom wing. Drywall finishes on the first floor classroom. They're already completed for the most part on the second floor classroom area. Working on drywall finishes at the kindergarten wing and actually moving into the cafeteria wing as well. And mechanical electrical rough-ins are kind of in and out a bunch of places, but they're really focusing at that cafeteria wing right now. But overall, really happy with the progress everybody's making. So Niswa Elementary, we're tracking real close to schedule on this one too. Painting and tile at the first floor classrooms, casework at the second floor classrooms. So really, you can see the picture on the top right. Finishes are going in. It's really looking nice. A lot of paint.
Looks like it could be used.
Yeah, it's really coming along. The bottom picture, you can see all the curtain wall, all the windows are in, glazed, and starting to really look like something.
Harrison, exterior metal panel installs continuing. Interior steel, stud framing, and rough ends at lower level are ongoing. Sheetrocking on the first floor is ongoing. mudding and taping on the first floor as well, painting on the second level, working on completing the demo of the nursing area, and making good progress on site. So getting ready to move into the finishes. Ceramic tiles started today. They got the materials on site and started to get ready to get that going on the second level. So good to see, good progress. With that said, it'll be really fun to see in a month on the tours. On the next level, next month we'll be doing tours of the elementary schools, and I think it'll be quite amazing to see the progress. You want to do the Garfield? Oh, no, Garfield. Contracts are being awarded. Pre-construction meeting will be following once all contracts are executed, working on permitting, getting submittals ready to go, things like that. So we're getting organized, getting ready for that summer start.
Lowell Elementary, we recently got the mechanical bids. It came in on the 13th. We had 5 bidders compete for that and came in under our targeted value. So we are recommending, as we noted earlier, that that the school board, or that we award to the low bid contractor, being Thielen Heating and Roofing. Other than that, the contracts have been issued for all the other work scopes, are in the process of being executed. I think we're nearly done with that. Saw a bunch of activity on that today. And
I was busy today.
we saw. The state of Minnesota plan review is in progress, so that's those plans are out to their appropriate authorities, and they're going through it and doing their plan checks for us and giving us comments, and we're responding. And we did have a kickoff meeting today, actually, with all the contractors and a few, and the principal and Reed as well, and kind of got the administrative part of that rolling, and we're looking towards next week when we can do some more detailed planning for the construction schedule. Excuse me.
I had a question. Today I was out on the playground at Lowell for a while. Is all the playground equipment going to stay where it's at? Is that some of that going to be interrupted as well?
That will all stay where it's at. We're
Okay.
actually looking at the plans right now to make sure we have enough room for excavation on one corner, towards the corner that's closest towards the building. But we're developing
Sure.
those plans. Next week we'll know even more, because we'll have subcontractor or contractors give us their opinions on it and tell us how they intend to do some of the work, and we can really dial in the plan then too.
Good. Can't wait.
Here, this is just a quick summary of after all of the bids came in, for the Lowell project, and the total value ending up for construction of $10,675,000. Riverside is in pretty close lockstep with Lowell right now. All the contracts have been issued, and a lot of them, again, we saw come back today. It's in the same state, or it's in same progress for the Minnesota plan review. So we're getting comments back from them and responding to them, and we are looking at a project kickoff meeting here on Friday to go through the administrative requirements for that as well.
There we go. So Baxter Early Childhood, we opened bids on February 11th. They did come in a little higher than we were anticipating, so currently we're reviewing bids and looking at options, and we're planning on discussing it further at our next oversight meeting. So, any questions or comments on that?
All right. Next, we'll bring up Lindsay Krenz, if she's in the audience. Give us a quick update on FF&E.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm Lindsay Krenz with Woodseth Smith Knowlting. We have partnered with Architectural Resources to design and plan the FF&E portion of the project. FF&E stands for fixtures, furniture, and equipment. Essentially, if you take a building, turn it on end and shake it, and anything that falls out is considered FF&E. So things that are built into the walls are not FF&E. This is more the furniture and the things that we touch on a daily basis. Last time we all saw each other, we were down at MSBA. We toured some of the furniture manufacturers that were present at the convention, really got our design energy flowing, and saw a lot of really great innovative new styles of furniture. From there, our team has been really busy. We prepared a furniture fair review day at the Brainerd High School, which was a really exciting day. That was February 11th, so about 2 weeks ago now. We had 6 different furniture vendors show up with a wide array of different types of furnitures for classrooms, teachers, commons areas, lounges, basically anywhere in the new building that we would be experiencing a need for new furniture. In addition to those 6 vendors that were present, we also had a representative from Sourcewell there who spoke with all the vendors and a lot of the team members that came through the furniture fair to discuss the benefits of using a contract like Sourcewell, and also informing us of all the other great contracts that are available to the school districts. So from here, now we are assembling our design review team for the high school in particular, and we are progressing very quickly with the planning and the design of the furniture package. So as we move forward, we'll be presenting along with the high school team to the project oversight committee, bringing in samples, showing examples of the types of furniture that are going to be progressing throughout the building. We do have a rather lengthy time frame for the high school construction. So we're going to approach the furniture process very similar. We're going to pair the new parts of the building with new furniture and wait for the areas that will be remodeled at a later date for furniture delivery when those areas are ready for completion as well. The next day, after our high school furniture fair, we hosted here at Wesby a elementary furniture review day. This was a really exciting opportunity to gather all of the 6 elementary principals and 2 members from their teams to join us in one big collaborative session. So over the past 3 or 4 months, the design team, along with the school district and ICS, have been able to tour all of the 6 elementary schools throughout the school district. We spent time with each of those principals, engaged with teachers in their classrooms and students, and really saw how teachers and students are utilizing their spaces. As we know, every classroom has 4 walls, but it's what is inside of those 4 walls that really makes the educational delivery style unique to a school district. So we've paid really close attention to how teachers are delivering that education and how the furniture helps enable that education to happen in those classrooms. This elementary review day was really an interesting opportunity for us to gather the intermediate teachers, the 3rd and 4th grade teachers, and also the K through 2 teachers. We broke off into 2 separate groups. We had life-size models of a typical classroom throughout the district, sized appropriately, showing all of the casework and all of the built-in elements throughout the classroom. And then we cut out what we're calling like paper doll versions of all the different furniture that we've seen throughout the district. Things that are used as standards currently in the district, some new innovative pieces that we saw in the furniture fair at the high school that really rose to the top of the pile. And so we had some great discussions with those teachers. They were able to sit in groups and arrange their furniture in what they would envision as their dream learning space. Everything we presented was sized appropriately for the class sizes, scaled appropriately so everything fit into those classrooms. And then also we really focused on targeting our budget that we have to work with all of our buildings as part of the FF&E fund. It was a really interesting experience. What we heard was a lot different than what we have seen throughout the school district. So the teachers were really engaged in some different types of pieces that they haven't had access to before this exercise. So we left that day feeling like we were a few steps back in our process, and we decided that the best route to proceed forward with the furniture project in whole is to install several pilot classrooms in each one of the schools coming up this next school year of 2020 to 2021. This will give us the opportunity to bring in a few different options of furniture and introduce those to teachers and allow them to observe and provide feedback to the design team on how they interact with these pieces, what best suits the educational delivery style within those classrooms, and how the district, hopefully they can guide us on how the district should proceed with the big overall furniture project. We were really cautious about not ordering furniture for the Wave 1 schools, knowing that this is a huge investment, and we want to make sure that we're making the best decisions with the investment that we are tasked to design. So we think this pilot program at all 6 of the schools is going to be a really unique opportunity for teachers to get their hands on some different types of furniture that they might have not been exposed to before. So that's where we're at. Our design team is kind of shifting gears a little bit after what we heard from our elementary review group, and we're really excited to proceed forward with some pilot classroom furniture.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from anyone?
Are you projecting that the FF&E will be within budget?
We know that the overall need for the school is greater than the current budget. Every piece will not be new. And so a big goal of these pilot classrooms is we're not going to bring in every single piece of furniture that's new. We've gone through, we've actually inventoried all of the furniture throughout the district. It's been quite a process with a huge help from the district team themselves. And so we're going to reintroduce some of the existing or legacy pieces, which we're calling them, into those pilot classrooms to give it a real life feel. It's not going to be an unidealistic approach to that classroom design. It's going to be very realistic, balanced with the budget.
So do you bring in repurposed furniture also?
Not repurposed, but furniture that would be existing in the classrooms. So what we've seen across the district is that there's a really great set of new furniture, very innovative and active pieces of furniture, pieces that are in unique shapes that students can push together and kind of collaborate or pull them apart and act as individual learning stations, versus the old style of furniture where you're just at a traditional desk or a traditional table, for example. So we're hoping to use all of those existing innovative pieces in the district and continue to build on that inventory by bringing in maybe some of the existing chairs, balancing the existing chairs with maybe active seating, something like the stools that wobble or the chairs that rock back and forth. And so that each student within a classroom would have the option to experience that new furniture by still kind of balancing that budget and being respectful to that existing inventory.
I really enjoyed the furniture fair, being able to watch the students, the high school students, interact with the furniture and then be able to provide their feedback. So found a lot of enjoyment in that.
Thank you.
It was well
It was a
done.
really fun day, and with help from Andrea and the district team, we were able to develop an online survey. And so as the students and staff walked into the furniture fair, we had big QR codes. And so you could pull out your device, you could snap a picture of that QR code, and then instantly link to a survey online. And so we were able to collect data on who attended, what school they belonged to, and then what were their top picks, their top favorite pieces throughout the whole day. We had some surefire winners boil right to the top of the list, and we were able to track that live throughout the day, which was really fun. We were really impressed with the student group. They were really engaged in providing feedback for us. They didn't just say, I like that chair, but they really dove deeper, and I like this chair because of the way my body feels in it or the way that I can collaborate with my fellow students. So kudos to the students. They really took their opportunity very seriously.
Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, we will move along to approval of our board meeting from February 10th.
I would so move to approve the minutes from the regular school board meeting on February 10th.
So we have a motion to approve our regular school board meetings of February 10th. Do we have a second?
Who seconded it?
I'm waiting for a second.
Oh, second.
Thank you. So motion by Director Kern, second by Director Nelson for approval of February 10th board meeting minutes. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next up is approval of our consent agenda.
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda and the presentation of additional bills for payment.
Second.
Motion by Director Nystrom, second by Director Blacklance for approval. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. For action, the first item is approval of our MOU with Education Minnesota regarding our 21 and 22 school calendar as presented previously or being presented again.
Twice in one night.
You're getting your steps.
I guess so. Okay. We have been doing a one-year calendar for the last couple of years due to the construction that we've had going on in the district. So in our teacher contract, they request that we have a calendar every 2 years, every April, every other year. So we have a memorandum of understanding with the EMB representatives asking them to waive that requirement for one more year so that we will do the 2021-22 calendar. Next February, we'll come to the board with that proposal and it'll be just one calendar. By the time we're done with that year, we should be done with all of the construction.
Correct.
And then we can go back to our normal cycle of 2 calendars at a time.
And you approved this same MOU last year for this school year, the process, and so it would be just for one more year.
I'll move approval of the MOU with Education Minnesota for the 21-22 school year as presented.
Second.
Thank you. Motion by Director Nelson, second by Director Blacklance. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Number 2 is approval of the resolution for the 2021 school calendar.
We have a calendar draft that you should have access to, reflecting what our calendar is proposal for the 2021 school year. And we were going to just kind of walk through what this looks like for you so you can kind of understand the decision-making behind it. Starting with August 24th, which is a new juncture for our calendar. This is going to be the week before our workshop week. We are giving this an option for the buildings that are going to need to move in. So Harrison, the new Baxter School, Nisswa, and a portion of the high school, specifically the music department and potentially the math department, are going to need to move into their spaces before the start of the school year next year. So we are building in some time for those staff to have an opportunity to do that moving. So that's why the week of the 24th is highlighted on the calendar. Workshop will be typical, the 31st through the noon on September 3rd. We have a late Labor Day, being September 7th, so school doesn't start until the 8th. That's a great thing for the construction cycle, because that's literally a week longer in summer than we're used to. But it does pose some interesting challenges when we're trying to get our calendar pulled, when we're starting basically on the latest Labor Day we'll ever have is the 7th. So Labor Day is the 7th, start of school on the 8th. We have EM conference on the 15th and 16th. And the state convention is actually on October 15th, which is why that's a 2-day weekend. End of first trimester will be 55 days on November 25th. We have our Thanksgiving break, which is again late in November, and our district-wide in-service day on the 30th. Christmas will start on the 24th, but we do have it slated for the 23rd on that Wednesday to be a 3-hour early out for staff and students.
Which is a trade for professional development at another time during the calendar.
Correct.
During the year.
We will come back to school with students on January 4th. The end of the first semester will be on January 15th, which is actually 82 days in the first semester, which is shorter than typical. It's slated to have second semester be a little bit heavier. I'll get into that in a minute. In-service on January 18th will be our second district-wide in-service day. You will see February 15th noted as President's Day, but will also be a snow makeup day, which is different from this year. This year, President's Day and the Monday after Easter were days off. Next year, we are building in that if we have a snow makeup day need prior to President's Day, we will have school on President's Day. And then we go through the month of March. There is no spring break on the roster for this year. April 5th, again, will be snow makeup day number 2. If we don't need it, it will be a day off for staff and students. Last student day for kindergarten students is the 20th of May. Last instructional day for the rest of the group is the 21st with high school graduation on that day. Then the week of the 24th through the 28th will be staff time. Kids will be out of the building by then. So if you were a Nisswa, Harrison High School, New Baxter, and you use 2 days at the beginning of the year, your buildings are going to have site staff development on the 24th and 25th. We're going to have district-wide professional development on the 26th, and your obligation will be done, assuming we don't have any snow makeup days. That complicates things, but for everybody else, if they're going to use the moving days to move out of their building for second phase work, they're going to do the moving on the 24th and 25th because we need to allow access for construction. 26th will be district-wide professional development, and their sites will do their site staff development on the 27th and 28th. And we're just really gonna hope that there's no snow makeup days beyond potentially 2. Actually, none would be great.
There's a couple of things in here that I think are really important that we talk about. One is that this summer we have, depending on how you count it, 8 or 9 projects going on at one time. We have a 69-day construction cycle this summer until we start school on the, I guess it would be the 8th. That late Labor Day for us is really a blessing in disguise this year and the following year because it really helps that construction cycle. What this calendar does for 2021 is by letting out a week earlier, and this will be the only year that we'll ask the board to do that, it continues to have a 69-day working period of time for all of our summer slam, as you guys call it, because we'll have 9 projects going during the summer of 21 to 22. And so this will be a one-time change. You'll notice that there's 168 student contact days, which is 5 days less than normal. The following year, we intend to go back to 173 student contact days, back to the old calendar that we had, but we feel that we need 2 summers where we can really get the work that we need done to finish off the major parts of our project. And so the thing that scares us a little bit is this is 168 student contact day. By law, we have to have 165 days. And so as the board asked us last year, please put in some snow makeup days, which you'll see that we did do this year. But if we have a year like last year, we had to account for 3 more days. And you can see that they've been added on if we have to have 165 days. But we're hoping that it's gonna work out and that we'll be fine. But we're crossing our fingers here on this one.
Yeah.
So, and a question with that, if for some odd reason we need it so that we maintain at least a minimum of 165, we used up the other 2, but we needed 3 more snow days. Wouldn't we be better off having the snow days then be the 24th, 5th, and 6th?
They would probably have to be, if we need the student contact time, they would have to move to that point. The
Right.
problem is I know all the construction workers are hoping to be into the buildings by the 26th. So but yes, it would have to do that if we get into a bind with that 165 days. Either that or we maybe can talk to MDE, but at this point, we're gonna just cross our fingers that we're gonna we won't have more than 2
Right.
snow days next year. We haven't had any this year, so we'll, hopefully we get one more good year to help us, I know.
We still have March.
I don't know.
We still have March, Link. We
We
still have
and
March.
we have April too, yes, we do. But anyway, once again, I just have to say thank you to all the people that have sat around the table trying to find the best solution. I just want to reiterate that it's not a perfect calendar, but it really is the best calendar that we can have for this 1 year only, as we're trying to work through the many logistics that are going on in the district. So, and we'll keep everybody informed if there's some things that we have to do with those snow days, but again, we're just gonna cross our fingers.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yep.
very good, thank you.
But thank you to everyone for all the input that we've gotten. It's been incredible process this year, so thanks.
I would so move to approve the 2021 school calendar as presented.
Second.
Motion by Director Kern, second by Director Nystrom for approval of the 2021 calendar as presented. Any further discussion?
Thank you.
If not, we'll do a roll call.
Reed Campbell, Tom Haglund,
Yes.
Sue Kern,
Yes.
Ruth Nelson,
Yes.
Bob Nystrom,
Yes.
Charles Black Lance.
Yes.
All present are all in favor.
Thank you. Next up is approval of a staff laptop as presented by Sarah earlier.
I'll move approval of the staff laptop refreshment selection as presented.
Second.
Second.
Motion by Director Nelson, second by Director Kern for approval of the laptop selection. Any further discussion? If not, in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next item, acknowledgement of the American Indian Parent Advisory Committee District Annual Compliance Documentation and Resolution.
I'll move to accept the annual compliance documentation and resolution.
Second.
Motion by Director Nystrom, second by Director Nelson. Any further discussion? And it looks like we were just handed the documents, so we've got that, so thank you. Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next item is the approval of change event number 32. This is in relation to Nisswa Elementary School for the building roof redesign that need to be done in the amount of $67,221.
Also move that approval.
Second.
Motion by Director Nystrom, second by Director Kern for approval as presented. Any further discussion? Questions?
I would like to add that you'll notice that it says, in addition, there will be some electrical rerouting, that a proposal from Design Electric that'll come forward. That amount will fit within the procurement amount that you have approved me as the superintendent to approve. So we know it'll be under $50,000 for sure, but I wanted to make sure that you knew that there'd be some additional dollars, but it would go through the process that you've approved.
Good, yeah, thank you for pointing that out. Any other questions, comments? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Last business item is approval to award the apparent low bid to Thielen Heating and Roofing for the mechanical in Lowell Elementary School.
So moved.
Second.
A motion by Director Nelson, second by Director Nystrom for approval. Any further discussion? I will abstain from voting. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next up is informational curriculum report. Mr. Murtha.
you should have a copy of the next 3 months' worth of DAC meetings and board meetings, and a list of the curriculum that's coming due through the process as the committees come to their end. So on March 16th, the next DAC meeting, K-5 Math Expressions with Mrs. Wallace and K-6 FOSS Science with Mrs. Wallace will be recommended to DAC for possible recommendation to the school board. We're hoping to bring that to you on March 23rd at that school board meeting. Then on April 20th, the following month, it would be 7th and 8th grade science, special education K-4 literacy, and that would come to the school board on April 27th. After the May 18th DAC meeting, we should be able to bring K-4 multimedia. We're going to have to make a recommendation about high school science course sequencing and a 5/8 language arts proposal as well, and those will come to the board either May 27th or June 8th. The rest of the document that you see is the process that the committees go through when they do curriculum development. So everything is laid out there just as we always have done. So these are actually excerpts from documents that you received previously from me in other years, but also was given to you this fall as we fired up. But that way you had an opportunity to preview what process and work the teachers have done, how it's moved through the system, and what's coming before you. So it's just a heads up that there's a lot of curriculum coming your way. And that's it.
Good, thank you, Tim.
Thanks, Tim.
And then, Tim, is it 60 days that we have to respond to the vote of non-concurrence?
That is correct.
60 days, and so you'll present, you'll pull together some information and we'll,
I think we should meet as an administrative team and collectively create our response, but yes.
perfect, thank you.
Okay, Marcy's up and ready.
All right, so in your board packet, there is a financial report. You can see the revised budget is now in there. When we're looking at this year to prior year in general fund, 46.37 versus 46.73 is pretty good. You know, we're in January, so you'd think that we're over 50%, but just want to remind the board that we do have the 3 payments in June to certified, so that's why it's a hair under. And then looking at food service fund, it is tracking a little bit ahead compared to last year. And part of that is because at the end of the year, we do an inventory adjustment. So we count all our food and then take it out of the expense and move it into inventory. So it is tracking a little bit ahead, but no worries there. And then community ed is tracking just a little bit under. The building construction is under the 50% as well, but I imagine that's going to start picking up here with spring and summer. And then debt service funds, you'll see both the Fund 7 and Fund 47 is almost at 100%. Our payments are August 1st and February 1st, so that's pretty much done. That's why it's right there. Sue talked about the literacy aid. I did just want to mention that that started in 2012-13 for us, and it's ranged from $378,000 to $428,000, and it is going just into the general fund. There's no restrictions on it, like it needs to be spent at each site or anything like that. So it is just supporting our programs. And then also in there.
We had that.
What was that?
How long has that been available?
I showed back to 2012-13 here.
Okay.
And then the enrollment report, February, we are down 4 from the previous month. But I did want to note that as of September 20th, we were down 47, and when I compared to that to last year, we were down 91 at this point from the beginning of the year. So we are still losing slowly, but not as bad as it was last year. And then at the next enrollment report, I will add the revised budget ADM. I missed that this report. It was nice to see the K through 4 numbers continuing to go up. Are there any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Marcy.
Thanks, Marcy.
Superintendent's report.
All right. As you can tell from all the action that we've had tonight, there's lots of things going on, so it's really been an exciting time. Just lots of things that I'd like to remind the board of, and starting mostly with the fact that on Monday, March 9th, there is going to, the night of our next board meeting, there's going to be the Legendary Women of Brainerd Public Schools Awards Ceremony again. It's the second year that they've done this, where they've taken 10 graduates that have just gone out and done amazing things, and they're graduates of our high school. And this ceremony it's an open house at the high school at 5 o'clock. The ceremony is actually at 5:30. It is a board meeting night. And so I've asked them maybe next year that if we can stay away from a board meeting night, because it really is a special night that I know we all like to be a part of, and to hear about the wonderful recognitions that these women have contributed to our society. It's been kind of fun the last week. I was on the radio twice with part of the committee talking about the 10 recipients again, and it's just amazing what they've done. But we also have that opportunity to really talk about the great work that everybody that works with children does. And like I said in the article that I wrote last month, everyone is a teacher. And teachers make a huge difference in the lives of kids, and what those kids, the ability that they have to live their passion. And so thank you to all the teachers and the administrators, the cooks, the bus drivers, everybody that has just an instrumental part in seeing people graduate and be successful. And those are the many rewards of this incredible profession. So if you get a chance, it'd be nice if we could stop over at 5 o'clock and be there for that. Also on March 17th, that is a Tuesday at 1 o'clock, we're going to have a school board retreat. Bob, we were able to move that until
thank you.
you're able to get back.
Appreciate it.
And there's lots of things that, as we're going through our budgeting process right now, that we just need some input on. And as you know, some people have brought forth a few items today, and some of those items are some of the things we want to talk about. But we need more time where we can actually have great discussion and we could get some input from you. Also, that day, we're hoping that we're going to have the full board there, and we'll take our updated board picture. And so thanks again for during School Board Appreciation Week that we had last week. I apologize we didn't have an updated picture, but we'll make sure that we get one yet. So we'll take a picture that day at 1 o'clock. Just a couple other things that I have highlighted. I talked about the legendary women, the retreat. Also the BLACC, the Chamber of Commerce's Eggs and Issues at the Arrowwood on March 20th at 8 o'clock. It's always a great opportunity to talk to our legislators and to visit with them about funding education, and to thank them for the support that they've given us, and ask for continued support in that realm. And then March 23rd, the bus tour, and we get to see the 3 elementary buildings. So we'll leave promptly at 2:30, go up to Nisswa first, then Tammy's going to show us around the new Baxter, and then we will finish at Harrison, and then we'll have our board meeting following that night. That ends my report.
Okay, great, thank you. So that will conclude our regular business, but we will be moving into closed session pursuant to Minnesota statutes for labor negotiation strategy. Is there a motion to move into closed session?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Director Nystrom, second by Director Kern for moving. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sarah.
This is gonna be
Thanks,
very.
sir. Well done. Good job.
Thank you.